Hello, and thank you for watching this regional update for the Western U.S. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. We'll check out the infrared satellite picture here first thing on Tuesday morning. A couple things to point out. We have got Tropical Storm Zeta expected to become a hurricane as it moves out over the warm Gulf of Mexico waters over the next 24 to 36 hours, making landfall Wednesday night across coastal portions of Louisiana and Mississippi. We've got an ice storm taking shape here with our big cutoff load across the Four Corners region. That's going to slowly push off to the east as we head through the mid and late part of the week. Then as you look back across the Pacific, we have got two big areas of high pressure continuing to circulate, a little trough in between those, but really kind of cool seeing the two clockwise flowing anticyclones here across the Pacific Ocean. Now as we go ahead and we look at the radar picture again, here is all of the precipitation being drawn northward by our little disturbance here. Little disturbance, it's quite the disturbance, but it is continuing to sit here and slowly move off to the east. So we're drawing a lot of moisture northward from the Gulf of Mexico. We've got a ton of air coming south from the Arctic, and so colliding with that, with some of the overrunning moisture, we've got a winter storm taking shape, accumulating snow expected across eastern portions of Arizona into New Mexico, across parts of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, with an ice storm ongoing right here across parts of central and western Oklahoma back into parts of the Texas panhandle, with several rounds of accumulating ice expected across that region, one of which already has happened. Then we've got another one ongoing here as we head through the day today. Looking at the temperatures here, quite cold across the Rockies. Some of the coldest air in North America is found right there across parts of Utah, Colorado, into Wyoming. Starting to warm back up across far northern areas of the northern plains here. Montana has been bitterly cold over the last 48 to 72 hours, slowly starting to climb out of the Arctic basement across that region. But as we take a look at a map here that shows areas that are approaching or surpassing record low temperatures here, and the entire western half of the country is experiencing some of this record-breaking cold air, a very early taste of winter across the western half of the country. So as we take a look at the hazards map from the National Weather Service, reflective here, we've got winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings, winter weather advisories in effect. We've got hurricane warnings here across parts of the Gulf Coast. And then as we talk about the West, really the big concern here, you can go ahead and just look over here to the day one fire weather map. We're talking about critical values across Northern California and then across Southern California as a Santa Ana wind event here begins to taper off as we head through the next 24 hours. But we'll keep an elevated risk there across southern portions of California, even into the day tomorrow. Now, as we look at total precipitation over the next 5 days, that takes us into Sunday morning on the left. You can see, again, we're expecting a little bit of precipitation on the southern end of our Pacific branch here. We've got onshore flow really soaking portions of British Columbia up the west coast of Canada over the next several days, but really on the southern periphery of that here across the Pacific Northwest. So the east side here, the west side of the Cascades across western Washington will still pick up a few tenths of an inch, maybe a half an inch, and some of the higher elevations here as we talk about, the next 5 days. But you're making your way down, to Oregon, the I-5 corridor, you're going to be dry. The eastern slopes here into the ag-producing areas of south central Washington will be dry. The Snake River Valley will be dry. And then, of course, southern California, all of California, into the Four Corners region will be drying out over the next 5 days. And then, of course, we've got total snowfall on the right. That is, of course, falling over the next 24 hours or so, expecting anywhere from 5 to 10 inches of snow across eastern portions of New Mexico, and then several inches as you make your way back into east central portions of Arizona. Now here's the upper level pattern, very amplified. Here's our big ridge off the west coast, our trough cut off across the southwest, and then we've got a ridge over the southeast. So this is what's helped draw a lot of cold air down from the literal Arctic into portions of the Rockies. That's why we are breaking cold records across really the entire western half of the country. Now, where are we headed? If you watched Eric's video update yesterday, the Monday morning ag forecast video, the pattern relaxes a bit. The jet stream relaxes. We're going to bring some ridging back into the western half of the country, so we'll start to warm back up as we head into the weekend, and then especially early next week as another trough swings through the Great Lakes. We're going to amplify the pattern just a bit again, and that's going to be in the form of some ridging across the west. So we'll probably be talking about, unfortunately, a resumption of some fire weather conditions across the west as we head into next week. Now here's a look at the jet stream wind speeds here at 500 millibars, and this is kind of what sets the table for the active pattern across western Canada into northern portions of the Pacific Northwest, and then also the heavy rains here with Zeta and our cutoff low combining here to soak portions of the southern U.S. into the Ohio River Valley over the next 4 to 5 days. So if I hit play on this, you'll continue to see the strong onshore flow over the top of the ridge meandering back and forth through this general region. And so as we look at the next 5 days, the precipitation, anomaly over on the left, and then we've got days 6 through 10 on the right. Really much of the west staying dry simply because we've got this big ridge off the Pacific coast, jet stream flow coming up and over the top of that, and then continuing to just blast western portions of Canada. So over the next 5 days, and then likely the days that follow that, much of the precipitation deflected north of the western U.S. The exception here at times could be western portions of Washington as the jet stream kind of meanders to the north and to the south. Now, as we talk about the winds, especially across Southern California, where we've got those critical values here, the Santa Ana wind event that we've been seeing over the last 24 to 36 hours, we're looking at wind gusts this afternoon. Again, they'll continue to be quite strong out of the northwest across Southern California as we head through the day today, but weakening as we kind of lose the pressure gradient there across the south as we head into Wednesday. So luckily, we'll keep dry conditions in there. We will see some localized terrain enhancement with some of the wind gusts, but looking at not the critical values here as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Looking at the precipitation forecast then, we've talked about much of this being deflected off to the north. We'll go ahead and step through time with this as we go through the day today. Again, watching the winter storm slowly pull away from Arizona and New Mexico. This is what it looks like at sunrise Wednesday morning. Snow still falling across eastern portions of New Mexico. That'll continue through much of the day on Wednesday. And then elsewhere, the only precipitation you can really find is, again, off to the northwestern portions of Washington, tapping into some of that light rain as we head through the day on Wednesday. Now, as we head deeper into the week, the end of the week into the weekend, the jet stream kind of migrates back to the north. We're going to see that ridge begin to build back into the west, so that'll shut things down for the most part until we get to Friday and Saturday, when maybe we see a little front come in here, bringing again some light shower activity to western Washington. Not going to be a soaking event at all, but that is really the next time we see some measurable precipitation try to make its way down into the Pacific Northwest. But really, again, this is primarily confined to western Washington. Dry then on the backside of that one, so we continue to dry out as we head through Sunday into Monday. High pressure taking shape, precipitation shoved well off to the north across British Columbia. So really, we got the winter storm across the south, across Arizona and New Mexico, and then we've got some rain here across parts of western Washington as we head into Thursday night and Friday, but that is just about it across the west. Now, temperatures, they'll start to warm up. We're looking at the temperature anomaly forecast as we head through the next week. At times, we'll see cooler temperatures across the Pacific Northwest, especially as that Thursday night into Friday little system makes its way through Washington, bringing some light rain, some cloud cover, and cooler temperatures. But California back toward the Four Corners, warming up as we head through the weekend, and then the rest of the West will likely be on a pretty big warming trend as we head into early next week, the first few days of November. That could, of course, mean a return to heat, low humidity, and an increased fire weather risk across much of the West. Let's finish with a look at those high temperatures then as we head through the day today. Warm across Northern California, portions of Oregon, cold as you head back toward the Rockies. We're going to start to modify this air mass and warm back up across the West as we head deeper into the week. 80s returning to the region as we head into Thursday. Here are your Friday highs, and then Saturday, everywhere from the Four Corners over toward the Pacific Northwest, a little bit warmer than average.